YouTube, what's going on? We are back today with another video, and we're going to change it up a little bit today. We're only going to be talking about one book. And I think in 2026, it's an important book for a lot of us to read. Now, the book I'm about to talk about was first published in 2003, had a movie made out of it in 2007, and today continues to be one of the best-selling books in the world. And the book that I'm talking about today is The Kite Runner by Khaled Hosseini. Now, this is what's considered a modern classic of our times. Hosseini has written two extremely popular books. This one was The Kite Runner, and the follow-up to this was called A Thousand Splendid Suns. A third book he also released was called And the Mountains Echoed. Now, today I'm going to be talking a bit about The Kite Runner and why I think it's so important for us to all be reading these days. Given what's going on in the world, there's tons of stuff in the news every day. I think reading is a getaway for a lot of us to kind of escape from the craziness of what's going on in the news cycles. And The Kite Runner for me was a book that I decided to read this past winter. I had chipped away at it in the past, never really thought about too much about it, the significance of it in the world, until I reread it over the winter fully from front to back to really understand what was going on. And I'm really glad I did. This book, disclaimer, is not for everybody. I think it's important for the majority of us to read. I think I'm going to kind of narrow it down to grown adults. Like, I don't think this is a book for high schoolers to read. I know in some curriculums it is being used in high school. I'm not totally sure I agree with that. There's a lot of themes in this book that are really hard, very mature, and there's just a lot of intense stuff in here that I don't think is for necessarily the teenage mind. But I think if you're fully grown, this is a book that will change your perspective on a lot of different things. The Kite Runner, the general story of this book, is it's about two best friends. Their stories of friendship, brotherhood. There's love in the family, finding love on their own in the real world. It's a story of betrayal, of attempted comebacks, of atonement. There's just a lot going on in here, and it's all mixed up within the geopolitical situations going on in the Middle East. This book is situated in Afghanistan in the 1970s, primarily in Kabul and the surrounding areas. There's two main characters in this book. Amir is the main character. He comes from a family with money. Hassan is Amir's best friend. Hassan is the son of Amir's family servant. And this book follows their relationship from their youth into adulthood and everything in between. This is a book that nowadays is regaled as a bit of a modern classic. Even when it came out back in 2003, people were like, whoa, what is this? I think it was an exposure for a lot of people for the first time to what life is like in the Middle East. This book has received some critiques over the years for being a little bit too intense, themes that people don't enjoy. It sometimes can make people sad. I think for myself, I had a bit of a mixed experience, emotions reading this book, which I think is what it was intended to do. There were times in this book where it was a very enjoyable read. There's fun stuff going on. There's achievement. It just feels good. And then there's other parts of the book where reality sets in and it's harder to read and the themes are not fun. And you're reading through chapters at a time that are not about good times. So there's a lot of emotions that go into this book, which is why I don't think it's for everybody. But in 2026, I think this book is, for me, I think it's just about becoming comfortable with the world and different cultures and societies. Like, I'm based in Canada. I don't know anything about what it's like growing up in the Middle East, of course. I've got my own privileged life here. A lot of things have gone my way. Statistically, I could have been born over there. The probability was pretty high given the number of people that we have. My life would have been very different. And the only way that I learn about what goes on in different parts of the world, other than news and social media, is by reading about it and by reading about stories written by authors who have some familiarity with it. So Khaled Hosseini is from Afghanistan. He knows a zillion times more about what it's like over there than I ever will. And I find it somewhat interesting how critiques of this suggest that, this is a little too hardcore, that it makes people uncomfortable. These things, but things in air quotation marks, would never happen because I would never let them happen. In my life, I would control the situation enough that bad things wouldn't happen. No, I think this book is a good reminder of what actually goes on in the real world. It's not always fun. Not everyone's living their dreams. And this book, while it is, I think, an extremely well-written book and has a lot of, enjoyable moments, also really does have a lot of harsh truths in it. And that's why I think it's so important for everyone to read. There's a lot of divide among us right now, and I don't care what side of the political spectrum you're on. Half the world is seemingly split in half from the other half. This book, I think, for me, allowed me to sort of feel more empathy with the people around me, and understand more of the perspectives of things aren't always easy for people. Things are tough. In 2026, I think a lot of us could use a bit of a reminder of how difficult some people's lives really are. And I think that makes people uncomfortable, which is okay. But I think that also means it's a moment for growth and learning. It's an opportunity for you to learn more about your neighbors. Everyone's got their own stuff going on. There's a lot of cool books out there that are, real sunshiny and happy, and there are incredible things going on in the world, of course, that are fantastic and bring a smile to your face. But there's a lot going on that's not good. And I think The Kite Runner is just a good highlight of all of that. It showcases the good. It showcases the bad. And in 2026, this was based in the 70s, the scenes of this book. A lot of these things are still going on and still apply, borderline worse than they were 60 years ago. I think this is a book that a lot of us should read. I wouldn't be scared away from this book. If you're shy about reading what's going on, in a country like Afghanistan, anywhere over in the Middle East, I think it's okay to be a little bit scared and not know what you're in for, because you haven't experienced it. But I think one of the really cool things about books is that you can learn a lot. You can feel what a lot of other people have felt that you are very likely to not ever feel yourself. But you can sort of be with people through books and through writing. And I think Khaled Hosseini does a really good job in The Kite Runner of sharing experiences that will not be lived by most of us, but can be felt and understood by a lot of us. So if you're looking for a book this year, I think The Kite Runner is worth it. I realize that given it's one of the best-selling books of all time, that a lot of people have probably read it already, which is cool. If you read it a really long time ago, I might encourage you to reread it again. But if you are reading it for the first time, I think I do want to point out that this is just a good story. There's the critique of it that it's a bit Hollywood. It's a little bit too much going on. Everything sort of comes together like a movie, maybe, but it's a book. It's a story. It's meant to do that. I can't blame the author for that. The author wrote a very good story. Things do tie in. He cleans everything up in this book. It is a complete story. There's no part two to The Kite Runner. with these direct characters, because everything is tied back in and the book ends. I think it's a really good book. The writing style of Hosseini is extremely digestible. It's not a book that is rat-a-tat-tat, bang, bang, too much going on, like all over the place. It's very digestible. It's very easy to follow along with, and it's a really engaging story. I think the main characters in this book are incredibly well put together. I think the personalities of Amir and Hassan and all the other characters in this book are very well laid out. So I think Hosseini just did an incredible job with this book. And yes, it did go, to the movie theaters. It was, spread far and wide because of how popular the book was. And I think that's for a really good reason. You can tell that Hosseini put a lot of his effort and energy into writing a book that, felt most accurate to him, and the lived experiences of what he had seen, what his family and friends had experienced growing up in Afghanistan. And I think there's just a lot for us to learn, certainly for myself as a privileged person, from reading a book like this. So while I love lots of books that are about sunshine and rainbows and action heroes and superhuman beings and fun, once in a while, I think you got to mix in a book that is just a bit of a harder story. This is a bit of a hard read at times, and that's okay. But I think it's an important read, which is why I think I want all you guys to make sure that you put some time in to read it. It's not a very overwhelming, thick, it's not too long. It's not going to take you ages. It's a relatively easy read based on, word count material. No, it's not an easy read that way. They're hard topics. But I stress again, they're important topics. I think a lot of us in the world could benefit from it. The people that could benefit most from reading a book like this will not be the ones that read this. But again, that's okay. That's out of your control. I think if you feel like you want to share some empathy with your neighbors and just understand what other people experience in their lives, then The Kite Runner is a book for you. I would recommend this, honestly, to the vast majority of people. It's a good read. So yeah, that's kind of about it. Like I say, The Kite Runner is great on its own. You can also read, if you want some bonus points, 1,000 Splendid Suns. It follows two women, so it's a different perspective than following along with predominantly boys in The Kite Runner. There's just a lot all of us can learn, I think, from reading, and books like this are what that's all about. So a lot of opportunity. I think it just helps you become a more understanding, empathetic person, I think, by reading books. So while this is a hard, emotional read at times, I do want to stress that there are also a lot of parts of this book that are really fun. And you can really feel the joy of the characters that are in this book. So it comes both ways. This is a book I think that anyone can read, and it's might make you sad, once in a while reading it. It's got some hard scenes, but it's called The Kite Runner. They fly kites in this book, and the scenes describing the joy and the smiles of everyone who competes in these kiting competitions. It's really cool, honestly. And I know myself, I've never seen anything like that in person. But the way that Hosseini uses words to describe the color and the action of the kites in the sky is really, really cool. And it makes this book just a really, really solid read. And you can certainly see why it's done so well on the rankings over the years. Because there's a lot to this book. If you're looking for something that's going to make you, feel like you're a little more knowledgeable or experienced and understanding, empathetic of the world around you, do check out The Kite Runner. I think it's a solid book. Ossini did some great work here. I think that should be respected. So if you haven't read this yet, please do read it. It's The Kite Runner. And now I will say once again, I'm pretty sure that's all I got for you. So yeah, The Kite Runner by Caleb Ossini. Please read it. I will see you guys in the next video. Please, if you're new here, all of you are, hit the thumbs up button on the video if you appreciated the thought into this one. Please hit the subscribe button. I'm going to be releasing some more videos as we go along, and I will see all you guys in the next video. Peace.